Okay, welcome. If you're like us, you want to get to the heart of things, understand them quickly but deeply.
Right. No wading through endless text.
Exactly. And today, we are diving into, well, it's a monumental chapter, The Bridge of Khazad-dûm from Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, absolutely legendary. This isn't just another scene. It's
Mm.
arguably the emotional core, the turning point of that first book.
For sure, a moment that really echoes, through the whole fantasy genre, even now.
Definitely. So our mission today, we're digging into why. Why does this chapter resonate so profoundly? What makes it stick with you? We'll be using key excerpts that really capture the drama.
Okay, let's set the scene. The Fellowship, they've just dragged themselves through Moria, dark, oppressive, scary stuff. They end up in the Chamber of Miserable. You think maybe a little break.
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? But no. Instead, they find Balin's tomb.
Ugh.
And it's just stark evidence of failure of death. It hits hard. For Gimli, obviously, it's intensely personal confirmation of his worst fears. But for everyone, it changes Moria. It's not just a dangerous path anymore. It's a tomb, a place where this dwarven dream died. That sense of loss just hangs heavy in the air.
And that heavy quiet, it doesn't last long, does it? The peace, such as it is, gets shattered pretty fast.
Not at all. Tolkien's been building this tension, this creeping dread, all through Moria, and then, bam, the drums start.
Oh, those drums, deep.
Deep, booming drums, orc cries echoing, and then the cave troll attack. It's brutal, chaotic.
And it feels different from the later battles, right? More confined.
Exactly. It's close quarters, desperate fighting in a tomb, not some sweeping battlefield scene. It feels incredibly personal, immediate. You're right there in the scramble.
And in the middle of it all, Frodo gets wounded. We see Aragorn and Boromir jump in, fierce protectors.
Yeah, that protective instinct just flares up.
But Gandalf, his
Yeah.
role shifts here too, doesn't it? It's less about, flashy magic and more about his presence.
Absolutely. While the others are fighting physically, Gandalf becomes this figure of command. His voice cuts through the noise. It's wisdom, resolve, holding things together. It really shows his authority, not just his power as a wizard. Kind of foreshadows what's coming, actually.
So they barely survive that fight, and they have to run for it, towards the bridge. The source material mentions Tolkien's writing style actually changes here.
It does, yeah. The prose gets shorter, faster, more urgent. It mirrors their desperate flight.
Oh, you're running with them.
Exactly. And the descriptions, the crumbling stairs, the huge empty spaces, the chasms, it gives you this sense of Moria's lost grandeur, but also how incredibly dangerous and unstable it all is now. The mountain itself feels hostile.
But it's not just the orcs they're running from now. There's this feeling, this growing dread that something else is back there. Something much worse.
Something that clearly unnerves even Gandalf.
Which just ramps up the tension massively, right?
Exponentially. Suddenly, it's not just monsters. It's like an ancient evil, something Gandalf fears. It hints at this deeper, darker history of Middle-earth, stuff buried for ages. The stakes just go through the roof. You feel this crushing sense of doom approaching.
And then we find out what it is. Drinsbane, the Balrog. The description is, well, it's famous for being kind of sparse, isn't it? A shadow and a flame.
It's incredibly effective because it's sparse. Tolkien doesn't give you a detailed monster manual entry. He gives you core elements: shadow, fire, this huge man shape, the whip, the wings of darkness, and lets your own mind paint the picture.
Which is often scarier.
Way scarier. It taps into something primal, this fear of the unknown, combined with these potent images of darkness and fire.
And it's not just some creature that happens to be there. It has a history, right? Back to the First Age Morgoth.
Exactly. It's a Maya, one of the fallen ones who served Morgoth, the original Dark Lord. That context is huge. It elevates the Balrog from just a big monster to, well, a remnant of the world's first evil. It represents that ancient darkness, the consequences of the dwarves delving too greedily, waking up things that should have stayed buried. It's symbolic of past evils returning.
In Gandalf's first instinct, he tells them to run. He doesn't immediately try to fight it.
Right. Which tells you everything about the power level here. For Gandalf, who is incredibly powerful, to see this thing and immediately say, get out, that underscores the danger.
It makes his later stance seem even more significant.
Absolutely. It shows his decision to confront it wasn't about confidence in winning easily. It was sheer necessity, an ultimate sacrifice.
Which brings us to that moment, the bridge. Gandalf turns, faces this thing, and says those words, "You cannot pass."
Iconic. Just 3 words, but the weight behind them is immense.
Why do you think they hit so hard even now?
Well, it's the simplicity, I think, and the sheer courage. He's not relying on, like, a complicated spell right then. He's drawing a line. It's moral force against ancient evil, that image of the lone protector against impossible odds. It's archetypal.
Pure defiance.
Pure defiance. It's become the moment people think of, a real touchstone in fantasy for that kind of stand.
And the clash itself. The description of these two ancient powers meeting on that narrow bridge, it's so vivid.
Tolkien paints it brilliantly. It feels less like a physical fight and more like fundamental forces colliding, light and shadow, good and ancient evil. And the bridge itself, this fragile structure over the abyss, just highlights the precariousness, the immense power being thrown around.
Then the unthinkable. The Balrog falls, but its whip catches Gandalf.
Yeah, it's just brutal. Even in defeat, the evil lashes out and takes him down too. It's shocking.
And his last words, "Fly, you fools." Just utter selflessness.
Completely. His last act is ensuring they escape. It's devastating. You feel the impact, immediately Frodo's reaction, Aragorn's shock.
It's the first real loss, isn't it? The first time someone central is just gone.
It really is. It rips away any sense of safety or plot armor. Suddenly, the stakes are terrifyingly real. This isn't just an adventure anymore. People can die. Horribly.
And that changes everything for the story moving forward. It feels like it shifts from adventure to something bigger, more mythic.
That's a great way to put it. Mythic.
Yeah.
Gandalf's death elevates the whole quest. It underlines the seriousness, the potential for pain and sacrifice. It forces the others to grow up fast.
Looking back, it's easy to see why this chapter is considered so crucial. The sources mention the pacing, the tension buildup, the emotional payoff.
It's just masterful storytelling. Tolkien winds the tension tighter and tighter through Moria, and then this explosive, heartbreaking climax. Gandalf's fall isn't just a plot device. It's this deeply felt event that shapes everything that follows.
It's interesting, too, how despite the grief, it kind of pulls the remaining fellowship tighter together, doesn't it?
It really does. Shared trauma, losing their leader.
Yeah.
It forces them to rely on each other in a new way. Aragorn has to step up. They all have to dig deeper. It forges stronger bonds out of that loss.
The Peter Jackson film adaptation, of course, depicted this scene incredibly powerfully. Ian McKellen was amazing.
Oh, undeniably iconic. That visual brought it to life for millions.
But the sources suggest, and I kind of agree, that even that amazing visual doesn't quite capture the full depth of Tolkien's writing here.
Yeah, there's something about reading it, the way Tolkien describes the Balrog, leaving things to the imagination. The internal perspectives on Gandalf's fall, the nuances of grief and shock described on the page. It hits differently. It's maybe more personal, more deeply unsettling when you read it.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, the Bridge of Khazad-dûm is clearly way more than just an action scene. It's like the emotional engine of the first book.
Totally. It embodies loss, incredible courage, and marks this huge shift. The journey just got deadly serious.
It leaves the Fellowship, and you as the reader feeling kind of numb, shattered, but also determined.
Exactly that. Numb but resolved. Gandalf's sacrifice is awful, but it also becomes this catalyst. They have to keep going. For him, for the quest, it shows that strength you find when you think there's nothing left.
It hammers home that real heroism often comes with real sacrifice. Painful sacrifice.
Yeah, that feeling of grim determination in the face of tragedy. It's powerful. It speaks to resilience, to finding purpose, even when things seem darkest.
So here's something to think about. Reflecting on Gandalf on that bridge, what are the bridges in your own life? Or maybe in other stories you love? Those moments that mark a huge loss, a point you can't go back from, but also maybe the moments that sparked something new, demanded a different kind of strength you didn't know you had. It's often in those moments, those Khazad-dûm moments. Me